So we're here in Portland for part 3 of our interview with Trena. And Trena's going to tell us about homeless families in Portland.
Hello, I'm Trena. I'm an advocate for the homeless and disenfranchised. And one of the particular very sad stories we get here is homeless families. In the last 2 weeks at Right to Dream 2, which is a rest area for people that live on the street, 2 couples came by with children. One of them had 2 children, the other one just had 1. Fallen on hard times, very hard times. But because at Right to Dream 2 we do not screen who comes in, they just come in for sleep. So we don't know if we have sex offenders there. So we cannot allow children in there. And they've come and begged us for help. They have no place to go. The shelters are beyond full. There's waiting list as long as your arm is small print. We try to provide them, keep them real close outside of R2D2 so we're not in violation. But we will put, like mats and blankets, and we'll feed the people and all that kind of thing. But we're just a band-aid. We just have nothing. One man came in, really broke my heart. He had just got out of prison, and his wife and about a 4-year-old daughter, they came and stayed. And they went back on the street, and they're sitting in a corner, and the next thing I know, police cars are everywhere. Well, on bar night, because our Right to Dream 2 is very close to a bar, several bars, a lot of bar patrons walking up and down. They see this husband or a man and woman and this child, and they call the police. And a police officer arrives, and he said there's been like 30 calls on it. And this was one of the actual good cops. I wish I could remember his name. He tried to get him into motels. I tried to get him vouchers. In order to do that, he has to call his sergeant, but the sergeant came and said, no way, we don't have the funds for it. So this very nice police officer tucked them in a less congested area, got them food, put them in a place that was safe. So we do have good police officers even uptown, but I'll tell you, for every 10 bad ones, there's only one good one, in my opinion, a humble opinion. So we, and then another instance, we had a husband and wife and 2 children, and this was just 2 days ago. And they had to spend the night outside of R2D2, but within our purview, so we can watch them to make sure they're safe. And the drunks are going up and down the sidewalk, and they're having to live like that. The children are being woken up, and they're scared because the drunks are so loud. But at least they're safe because they're right almost in front of our desk, which we have 24/7 security. And we just ask the intoxicated people to move on, and if there was a child, to please watch their language and that type of thing. So, oh well, look who's coming. Here comes some, we call them yellow jackets. Sorry for the tangent, but they're some of our worst enemies over there. They're part of Portland Patrol, and they really love to harass the homeless people. And in fact, they take quite a great pride in it. But you'll notice the yellow and black, and that's why we call them yellow jackets, and the sting is almost as bad. We try to buffer the homeless from them, but there's quite a few of them, so we don't have much choice. But anyway, getting back to the homeless families, we don't have near enough shelters, even in this big metropolitan city. And just like our domestic violence shelters, there is a waiting list that is so long that it's just absolutely insane. People have to wait for days, sometimes weeks, with families to get in. We tuck them where we can. I have a great advocate, they call him Pastor Mike. His name's Mike Davis. He's very good at taking these families and tucking them into areas that maybe they're just there. He hides them, and he uses the foliage and everything to camouflage them. And he does it temporarily, but when you've got a child being dragged into an area, not dragged, but taken by her parents into an unfamiliar area, And it's so frightening for that child. But the reality out here is, and I can only really speak for the southeast area that I'm from, women, most of the women that have their babies, they have the babies taken immediately because they have no home. We try to get them homes, but we just don't have the resources for it. We need more money for shelters for families, and of course, as I said in an earlier video, we need more funding to get transitional camps set up where people can go while they're waiting for whatever it is, drug treatment, a job, their Social Security to come in, maybe mental health treatment, just a place for safety. People need safety. I mean, that's Maslow's law. You know, Maslow's hierarchy of needs. You've got to have safety. You've got to have a soft place to fall. And the people here do not have a soft place to fall. And families are just as bad. And the children are going to remember this. They're going to grow up and be scared. A lot of them end up being my adult clients at where I work at Clackamas Service Center. I volunteered there for, I think, about 3 years now, and I've seen it all. But we do have families there that come in there too, but most of it is the homeless. So I don't know what the answer is. I think people need to get their priorities straight, a little less war, a little less creating these weapons of mass destruction, and take care of the people. People should be first, but homeless people, in most people's eyes, housed, the police, are expendable people. And get rid of them one way or another. Move them on down the road. They freeze to death. Get rid of them is the philosophy. And we have a real problem with them pushing people from Multnomah County, which Portland is a part of, into Clackamas County. Because Clackamas County is not that far from here, but they keep them on the move. They keep sweeping their camps, and therefore make it somebody else's problem. And unfortunately, we have Washington County on one side, Clackamas on two sides, and then we have the Columbia River on another side, so they can't, they'll go right into Washington if they cross the river. So what they want to do is just get them out of sight, get them out of anything. Gentrification, you know, get more high-rise buildings that no one can afford unless they are the elite and make really good money. The HUD vouchers that people get, housing vouchers, they're so few. And as I said in an earlier video, if you put adults in there that have been on the streets for a long time, you're setting them up for failure. They're going to fail. They're going to go right back on the street, and they're going to be worse off. I truly believe this with all my heart is the only way to address homelessness, especially for